Hello everyone and welcome back to Genie Crafts. In today's video, we are going to see how to do a halftone portrait, but not the normal one. We are going to fragment the halftone portrait template into multiple sections for better strength and better sturdiness. So guys, let's get started. So here is the template that I have created. This is obviously a flip of the image because the actual image he is looking in the other direction. And as you can see that I have divided the template into 3 sections. When you are dividing the template into sections, it's important that the face should not be cut by a line. So that's why I've kept the face in the middle. So the middle section is slightly thinner than the 2 left and right sections. And for this, I'm going to use my OLFA paper cutting knife. Right. So the way to approach this kind of halftone portrait is quite simple. You do section by section, and you ensure that you are always starting from the side which has a thinner buffer area, which in this case is the lines which are dividing the portrait, and you move towards that side which has a thicker buffer area, like the border area. So as you can see that the border is thicker than those lines which is fragmenting the entire halftone portrait. And also to ensure that the portrait looks nice, these sections form a zigzag pattern. So normally I like 4 sections, so that one full zigzag pattern, but that is easily doable in landscape mode. But since this image was in a portrait mode, so I have done only 3 sections. Also, as you can see that while I am cutting, I'm only cutting the diagonal lines. I'm not actually removing any of the pieces unless it gets accidentally removed. So the reason for doing this is quite simple. If you keep on removing all the lines as you go along, what will happen is that the paper strength keeps on reducing and the paper will stretch, it might break also, and it becomes very fragile. So to prevent that from happening, the best thing to do is that you just cut the lines first. Do not actually remove it from the anchor areas, which in this case are the dividing lines and the border area. So that's what I will do for the whole section until I have finished one section. Once I have done that, then I can move to the next one and the next one, and then finally once I have cut the lines on all the 3 sections, only then I start removing them. Because removing these lines is quite easy because those cuts are like very small. The actual length of the cut is in these big black lines. So that's one of the tricks that I utilize to make sure that I cut it faster without the risk of actually damaging the portrait in any way. So here is the first completed section, and you can see that while I have made the cut on the lines, I have not actually removed any lines, something which I was talking about earlier also. And now we will move to the next section. Also, you cannot jump the sections, like you do the first section and then you do the third section. You have to do it in sequence. So now we'll move to the middle section, and the way to approach the next section is that you always start from the point or the line which you have not yet cut or you have not yet touched. So in this case, I am going to actually start cutting from the third section towards the first section. So the line which is adjacent to the third section, I'm going to start from there, and I will move towards the line which is adjacent to the first section. The reason for this is that if you start from the first section line, then it will create stretch on the lines that you have already cut, and it might alter your cutting line, or you can cut wrong, undercut, overcut, or you might even tear the separating line also. So it's important that you always move towards the line on which you have already made cuts in the adjacent sections. And when we go to the third section, then we will start from the border and then move towards the separating line. So that's the normal process that you need to follow while doing the cuts in the subsequent sections. And here we are done with the 2 sections. So I have made the cuts on the 2 sections. You can see that the cuts have been very clean. The separating line is completely intact, and that's what your goal should be when you are doing such kind of half-tone paper cut. And now for the last section, like I said before, I'll start from the border and move towards the separating line, because the separating line has already part of a cut in the adjacent section, so we will not start from the separating line. And again, this is just to ensure the stability of your template, so that you do not accidentally cut your template where you are not supposed to cut. So let's quickly do that, and then we'll move toward the last phase of this portrait paper cut. Now that all the three sections have been cut, we come to the last part where we actually need to remove the black strips. Sorry, I forgot to mention, since this is a half-tone portrait being made on a white paper, you have to remove the black strips and keep the white portion, so that when you put it against a black background, it looks like the actual half-tone portrait and the image there, right? So now there is not much technique in removing these strips. You just have to be really careful. You can utilize different methods of paper cutting, in the sense that you can use pressure technique for very small portions where there is very less to cut. Just pressurize with the tip of your knife, put pressure with the tip of your knife on the paper, and the required section will get cut. Or you can, gently cut the required area. Once again, do not remove individual lines. First remove or make the cuts on one side of the section, and then make the cut on the other side of the section, and gently tap with your hand to let the paper strips fall. Whatever is not falling, carefully check if there is any undercut anywhere in the middle of the line or at the ends of the line before you pull it out. Do not forcefully pull out any strips of the paper. You might damage all the hard work that you have done so far. So you have to be very careful about that, and you have to follow this process for all the sections. So here we are with all the strips removed. Because my paper cutting mat itself is black, so you cannot really see if I have removed the strips or not. But let me just invert the portrait, and this is the actual orientation of the image, and you can see that this has come out really nice. I have not broken any of the remaining white strips, and even the separating line does not make that much of a difference in the actual output, right? And now we come to the last step of this, which is to essentially frame this, which will be in a normal A4 size frame. So guys, let's start and frame this. The framing process is quite straightforward. You just get the A4 size frame or whatever size portrait you have created, remove the back closure. If there is an inner frame, you get rid of it because you won't need it. You get rid of the back paper also, because you're going to replace it with a black background anyway. If it's an acrylic frame, then you will have a protective film on both the sides, so eventually you'll have to remove both the sides, but for the time being, just remove from the inner side. Put your portrait upside down, so that the one that you want the user to, or the recipient to see, it's visible on the front, and the side on which you have cut is on the back side. Give the background of a black paper, and finally close it, and make sure that it's easy to remove the protective film on the front also. So what I normally do, I just remove it from the sides and let the final recipient remove it completely. And once you have done all that, then you will have your fragmented half-tone paper cut portrait ready with you. And that's how it has turned out. It actually came out quite beautiful. Didn't take me that much time also, like not more than 4 hours. I was able to complete everything within a 4 hours time. So guys, I hope you found this video useful. If you guys liked the video, then please do not forget to hit the like button and share this video with your friends, and do subscribe to my channel for different forms of art videos and craft videos. And I will see you guys very soon in my next video. Till then, stay safe, stay happy, take care, and bye bye.